Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode of our Brave Noise interview series, we're joined by Sophie and Maz from Lost and Grounded Brewers, who dare to be brave and make a noise about their Brave Noise brew. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer and making a brave noise. Come join us. Here we are. We have another lovely episode of our Brave Noise series. And today we have the wonderful Sophie and Maz from Lost and Grounded. Hello, ladies. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Right, yeah.
Welcome. Maz is back, obviously. We had her before talking about Oktoberfest.
Yeah, about this time last year we were saying.
Yes,
Which I can't believe it's been a year.
I know. And I was thinking about it the other day, and because when we were recording this, it was like the lead up to Oktoberfest. Everyone's planning their Oktoberfest events, and I was like, we never did our challenge, our beer stein challenge. And I was like, we need to do the beer stein challenge still.
Well,
There's still time. There's still time.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do that.
Yeah, I guess for anyone that doesn't know who either of you are, do you want to give just a quick introduction to yourself and what your role is at Lost and Grounded?
Okay, so I'm Sophie and I do brand activation and communications with Lost and Grounded. So it's a marketing role. So I do all of the social media stuff, start doing the reels and everything like that.
And I'm Maz and I do orders and admin at Lost and Grounded. So if you phone the office, you'll probably end up talking to me. And if you email orders at Lost and Grounded, you'll be talking to me. I take care of all your beery needs. First point of contact.
Yay, very important roles.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
The roles that people don't think about, because it's like, oh yeah, the brewer. Yeah, that's important because they make the beer, but it's all the team that make everything happen that are important too.
Yeah, I think it could be a whole separate conversation about roles in a brewery that people don't think about. Because I think some people like myself have been like, oh, I'd love to go into, if I could go into beer, that would be cool. And it's like, yeah, but I don't feel like I'd be a very good brewer, and I'm just not that way inclined. It's like, oh, what else could I do? And then, yeah, there's all these amazing roles that you can do. There's a whole separate conversation. I feel like that needs to be explored in itself.
Yeah.
But what we're here for today is, if you're watching the video, your Brave Noise beer.
Brave Noise beer.
Yeah.
Brave Noise lager.
Yes.
It's very exciting, obviously, because it is Lost and Grounded. If people don't know, Lost and Grounded make lager. They make other things too, but predominantly they're known for their excellent lagers.
They are tasty. And I feel like this is my third time having it. We got to chat to Tom from We Are Beer, which was great conversation. We got to chat to Ash and Ren from the Brave Noise team, and we thought that it was only fair to round it out and have a conversation with you guys on the topic of your Brave Noise beer. So yeah, this is my third time having it, and I regret nothing because it is a fantastic lager.
It is delicious.
So I'm guessing, you can talk a bit more about this, but I'm guessing you went with a lager because it's a brew. What you are most known for doing, I'm gonna guess, is why you went with that. Is there any other comments on why a lager versus the standard Brave Noise recipe?
I guess it's we are known for lagers. So yeah, I think we took that Brave Noise recipe and then did our own twist on that. And then it was our own sort of flavour, but it was also because it was the beer for the We Are Beer festivals. So it was something that was brewed with the festival season in mind. What more could you want on a hot day at a festival but a lovely, refreshing lager?
Yeah, absolutely. And our brew kit is all geared up towards brewing lager. It's a high-tech German style brew kit, so perfect for we wanted to really make this beer shine, so why not do what we do best and make it a lager?
Exactly. I think that's if there are any brewers who are listening who are still kind of umming and ahhing about whether they should do a Brave Noise, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that recipe. You don't have to do that recipe. You can do whatever you want. If you're concerned, have a chat to the Brave Noise team. You can just get hold of them on the website. Make the beer that you want to make and that people are going to buy, and they'll still buy it, and it'll still be amazing, and you'll still be supporting the Brave Noise cause. It's make whatever beer you want. Make cider.
Yeah, exactly. It would be boring if everyone made exactly the same beer, wouldn't it? We want everyone to, there's no point in a brewery who predominantly makes pale ale to then try and make a lager or a stout or something and go, like, just to be different. No, it's definitely do what you do best. And then it will also make the message shine as well as the beer.
Yeah, because we're talking about diversity in the beer industry, in the beer community. We can have diverse beer styles within that as well.
Yeah, I think we were talking to... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if that is, how that gets people involved, then why not? Why would you not do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying, like, when we've mentioned it before, but when we spoke to the Brave Noise team, they were saying, like, someone had made a kombucha, I think, in North America. One of the North American breweries had done a kombucha, and they were just like, they were so open as well to the idea of, like, if you want to make any, like, if you're within this space and you want to make anything, you want to make a hot sauce, you want to make a kombucha, you want to make a cider, you want to do any of those, like, if that's what you do best, and you're doing all the steps and you're doing the work, which is like make your code of conduct and do all the things that you need to do, like, they don't care if you've used the base recipe or if you've tweaked the recipe or if you've done something completely different. So that was a really cool thing to, like, hear them say as well, and hopefully that gives some confidence to people as well to be like, yeah, I'm a stout brewery, like, I don't think I can make a pale. It's like, yeah, you don't have to, it's fine.
Oh, brewer stout with Sabro. There we go.
Ooh.
I mean, I love Sabro, so yeah. I'm happy with that.
Let's see some more Sabro out there.
Some people really hate Sabro, and I'm like, I love it. I'll take all the
Sabro. So which cause are you supporting? So is there, like, because I know that they were trying to see if they could get a local cause for each of the We Are Beer festivals. Is there like a central one that you guys are supporting, or is it whatever ones were for the local festivals?
So we chose a local charity to us. So it's the Womankind Bristol charity. It's a charity that we have supported before when we've done our own events. And it's really just to help women and support them with their mental health. It reaches out to those that perhaps may be vulnerable or disadvantaged women, refugees, asylum seekers, and just anyone really that just needs any help. They've got a really big team of volunteers that go through counselling, and it's just a lovely cause that's just close to the brewery's heart and everyone involved.
Excellent.
So we mentioned briefly that obviously we spoke to Tom, we spoke to Ash and Ren. We heard sort of their perspective on how this collaboration came about and about the brew day, but hoping you guys could sort of talk us through your perspective on it, of like how it started and the process from start to finish of it, and the brew day, what the brew day was like. Tom's view of the brew day was like, I got to turn up and I did a few things and I drank beer and it was great. It would be so good to hear your perspective of it.
Yeah. I mean, what else is a collab brew day about, really?
Right.
So basically it came about because Annie, who co-founder of Lost and Grounded, and she's a quite a huge female influence as well across the industry, and she was contacted by Brian Allen, on Instagram at Rat Magnet, and said, would you be interested in collaborating on a Brave Noise beer? And we're trying to work out logistics. And then she was also talking to Tom, I gather from listening to his point of view as well, that they also contacted We Are Beer and said, do you want to do a collaboration brew? And they went, great. And then thought, okay, we've got these two entities, we've got a brewery, we've got a festival, let's combine the two together and make something happen. And so I think it was very much led by Brianne and the Brave Noise team, who contacted and got the ball rolling.
Amazing. That's like a really cool endorsement that Brave Noise reached out to you to make a beer.
Yeah, I think they were trying to get a few more UK breweries involved in what was going on. I think that everyone had seen what was going on in America and kind of went, oh, that's happening over there. don't really know how to get involved in that. So I think they were trying to reach out to a few more UK breweries and say, come on, you can be involved too. So yeah, like for me, it was amazing because Annie has been, like, obviously, as Sophie said, is a big influence in the industry, and she's really into ensuring that other women in the industry are given opportunities, as many as they can, to be involved in things like this, and also to platform and just be seen. So she asked me if I would be interested in taking part in the brew day, which of course, I mean, who doesn't love a brew day, especially when you're normally sat behind a desk? You kind of go, oh yes, finally, that thing I watch everyone else doing all day, I finally get to do it. And unfortunately, Annie herself wasn't able to make the day, so she asked me to take everyone under my wing, sort of host everyone for the day, and make sure everyone was well looked after, while also getting stuck in. Obviously, got to get dirty. Is it a real proper brew day if you don't come away with a bit of malt on your shirt?
Right, no, not
for
at all.
shoes in my case, like
all
over my boots.
She always ends up with it in her boot.
Yeah, because when we went to brew our Brave Noise beer, we obviously, you normally bring your waterproof shoes, and my wellies had broken, so I had my hiking boots, because those are my next most waterproof things. Left it by the door, had like socks and everything, like a change of jumper, like all those things that, like, if I'm gonna get wet, I need to be able to, like, I'm gonna get wet and gross, you want to be able to like change and all that. And had a new pair of boots that I bought and everything. Thankfully they were like quite comfortable, can move around in the boots. Left my hiking boots sat by the door, didn't realise till I was about 10 minutes to getting to Mirakai, and that's an hour and a half drive from me maybe, and I was like, oh shit. I was about 10 minutes out and I was like, oh shit, my boots. and I could see that I had like my jumper and my socks like next to me in the car, and I was just driving, like if someone was driving next to me they would have been like, what's happened? Because I was there and I was like, they probably were like, what are you doing? So yes, if you don't come away with it all over your boots and your clothes, have you even dug out a mash?
Right.
I mean, to be fair, with our fancy brew kit, you don't actually have to dig out the mash. So
I've heard.
That's
what we heard.
All the more reason to get as stuck in as you can, because you've got to find the dirt to put on your clothes somewhere. I
think that's it. We
even
said
just rolling around on the floor.
We said that to Tom. We said something like, "Oh, so you dug out the mash and everything," and he's like, "Well, no, we didn't really need to." And he's like, "So I got to just drink beer." He's like, it's quite nice.
I also provided pastries. I went past Heart's Bakery.
He did say that as well.
Yeah.
He did say that as well. I was like, luxury over there. It's nice.
Yeah. It was a fancy brew day, I must say.
Definitely well looked after then.
So I got a chance to go up to Cloudwater at the end of last year to be involved in their Brave Noise beer. And they do have a mash tun that it sort of automatically, it has a hand that automatically scoops the mash out, but needs a little bit of guidance. Yeah. So that you'll find photos of me online getting stuck in. Yeah. Because you've got to get dirty. You've got to. I definitely got dirtier on that day than our brew day. So but we were involved, and it was a great day, and it was amazing. We had so we had Tom from We Are Beer, and we had Emma from Merakai, and we also had Helen from the Burham Collective. So it was really great to have them down, like everyone coming to represent. It was a nice small team as well. I think sometimes with these collaborations you can end up with 20, 30 people in a room and no one knows what to do, because like it's too many cooks in a sense. Everyone's having a lovely time, but no one's actually able to really get involved in what's going on. So it was a really nice team of people who, we'd never met before, but by the end of the day it was just, everyone was just having a great time and really getting on. It was really nice.
We were really impressed with how quiet Emma had kept her involvement, actually.
we only saw her in a photo, and when you guys put the first photos out, and Joe messaged like, I think that's Emma. And I was like, that is Emma.
Yeah.
And then we messaged her like, is that you just like, well, they've put it out there now, so I think I can talk
yeah.
about it.
I think we were
It's
trying
like,
to collate
yeah.
all. We wanted to try and get it so that everybody talked about it at the same time, but I think that we lost a bit of that. So we ended up launching loads of information, and then they were like, oh yeah, of course.
I think it's that thing of like people might be afraid though of like doing it too soon. Like you don't want to break that news, like something that important, before like the brewery does it. And and so that's kind of like that balance. And it was just like we saw the photo go up, and then like within hours we were like, I think that's Emma. And we were like, oh, she kept that quiet, well done. it was like an amazing, impressive thing, like to see another brewery come out and be like, yeah, we're brewing a Brave Noise as well. We were like, yes, like amazing.
It was really exciting, and for it to be a lager, so for it to be a different recipe as well, that was really exciting.
Yeah,
it was something quite exciting as well, because when I came on board, the brew day had actually already happened. So I missed out on that, but my first assignment was to write and publish the code of conduct for the company. So yeah, it was all very exciting, and you know, I already knew quite a lot anyway, and did a lot of further research, and yeah, just completely fascinated by the whole thing, and just felt so pleased to be coming into an environment and we were already actioning on this and we were doing it. Yeah,
it's very rare that we've like gotten a chance to actually speak to the person that has written the code of conduct. So feel free to say you cannot answer these questions or whatever else, and we will cut it out. But out of curiosity, it's like, when you go about making that code of conduct, like how do you go about it? Like, do you take on board, like, do you go to everyone and say like what's everyone's feelings, or do you very much like speak to the owners and go like, this is what the owners want? Or like how does that happen, just out of curiosity? Because somebody else might be listening that's like, oh, I'm tasked with doing this, and like how do you go about it?
So there is a framework that is available as a guideline available on the Brave Noise website. So if you do ever get stuck, there is some help on there. You know, loads of other breweries actually have published a code of conduct even without being part of the initiative, which is great anyway. So took a bit of inspiration from that. I was given some pointers from Annie and Alex about what we needed to include, and yeah, it was one of those things where as a company anyway, we are very focused on being inclusive, so it was already there as a core value, so it wasn't very hard to move, find what we needed to put in the code of conduct. We already had those values. It was just putting it down on paper, getting it published so everyone else could see what our values are. We knew them already. It was just making sure it's public.
I think that's so important. Like, I think we've said this before, like we think a lot of breweries are already doing this. They just haven't like put it, as you say, onto paper or put it on the website, or been like, we're going to commit, like these are our thoughts, we are actually going to commit to it, let's celebrate it by brewing a Brave Noise beer. And I think so many breweries in the UK could do that really easily.
Yeah, I mean, that's just exactly what I was gonna say, was like, we've said it so many times where it's like there are so many breweries that we know are doing the right thing, and they might even already have the code of conduct, and it might not be published on their website or like posted on the door of their tap room or something like that, but they have one in existence, they follow it, it is that culture is one of their core values. And it's very frustrating because you're like, we still only have like 10 breweries doing it, but I know that there's so many more that are doing all the right things, and they have the code of conduct, and they have those things in place. And as Joe said, we're like, why wouldn't you want to tell people how welcoming and inclusive you are? And it's like the Brave Noise team even said, maybe you don't brew the Brave Noise beer because there's numerous reasons why a certain size brewery, or they might be constrained and they can't actually brew the Brave Noise, but they're like, just jump on that initiative anyways, even if you can't brew email them. If you're like, I want to just be part of it and I can fundraise using it. I asked them point blank, if somebody had a beer that they were already brewing and it was completely different to the recipe, but they wanted to be a part of Brave Noise and they wanted to donate to charity and they wanted to do the code of conduct and they did all the right things, how would you feel if they said, I have this beer, I didn't brew it necessarily for Brave Noise, but I'm gonna struggle to fit this beer in the time frame that I need. Can I do this? And they were full on like, if they followed all the right steps, and this is the way that they have to do it. Like, we would never, like, they wouldn't reject that outright. It's like, still submit. If you've got a code of conduct and you can't fit in a Brave Noise beer, why wouldn't you want to be like, I've already got something, let me just use that as my charity beer instead, and go through the process and let people know what type of company we are. It's insane to me. I don't know. Rant over. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I wonder whether, like you say, if people feel like they are already following a lot of the things that Brave Noise outlines and tries to get companies to do, maybe they just feel like they don't need to be involved. But I think, and we were discussing this earlier in the office, Sophie, weren't we, that, you know, you have to remember that when you have a certain platform, if you have a certain influence in the industry, then there's so much that you can do by just saying, hey, you know, here's an example of what we do. You know, we may have already been doing it, but have a look. And, you know, it just encourages other people to be involved and to reconsider the way that they manage their businesses, and maybe go, oh, I see that brewery is already doing that, but maybe we could change a little bit about how we recruit, for example, or, you know, how we host our events, anything that could, you know, just make people feel more included and safer in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. Those are really good points.
I was gonna say, it never dawned on me about the idea of, like, maybe we've discussed with, you know, over numerous Brave Noise episodes and on different occasions of, like, why do we think people aren't brewing a Brave Noise? Why are there only 10? And one thing that has never come up until now, until you've just said it, Maz, is like, what if they haven't done it because they feel they're already doing the right things, and therefore they're like, oh yeah, we already do all that, so you don't need to do that. But as you said, if you have a platform, by you brewing that Brave Noise and saying, everybody, we're doing the right thing, and you make that beer and you do the charity and all that, that's setting an example for other breweries and for people that may or may not know you're doing the right thing, to be like, oh, this is the minimum level of what we're willing to tolerate. Like, this behavior is like the bar for what we're going to tolerate, and anything below this, we're not. And it sets an example to other breweries. But that is a really interesting point that I personally had never thought of. So,
and it would get it out to other consumers, because there are still a lot of consumers that you're like, Brave Noise, and they're like, what? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And the more breweries that do it, you're getting to those different audiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you've said there is right. There are a lot of people who still, we say, oh, we've just brewed a Brave Noise beer, and they go, what's Brave Noise?
Yeah.
But it's also because I think it's been such an insular thing within the beer industry, that unless you are an avid follower of all the latest news, you could easily not know what's going on. Obviously, it's not just the beer industry that is having a sort of reckoning at the moment, in which people are finally standing up and saying, we can't tolerate this anymore. But train of thought because of the siren.
We're not taking it anymore. That's it.
Right. The sirens are going.
Sirens are on. Sirens are going. We are not taking it anymore.
That was such a very effectual point. Yeah. You were like, it's a day of reckoning, and then the sirens went, and it was like, exactly. We're not tolerating it.
So good.
The beer industry isn't the only one that's having a day of reckoning. It's happening all over in so many different industries. So it can be quite, you know, we can sit in our own little echo chamber and kind of only hear what we understand in our industry. So it's trying to get that out to the consumer, who might be like, oh, I just pick up a, you know, whatever IPA off the shelf in the supermarket. I don't really know what's going on in the industry. So it's about trying to break that barrier and trying to get it out to those people who then go, oh, I see that actually, there is a Me Too going on in the beer industry too. How can I understand and learn more and support the breweries that are trying best to implement these, best practices?
And that's the thing, right? When you only have 10 breweries, it's a lot easier to be able to be ignorant to the fact. And like sometimes there will be some people that are being willfully ignorant because they don't want to know what's going on. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people that can be willfully ignorant because they don't want to know. Because if you
100%.
open that can of worms, it almost like opens up Pandora's box, and then it's like just such a minefield, and some people are just like, I don't want to do that at all. Now, I'm not saying that's the right approach to it by any means, because I think you have to open that box. Like, you have to know who you're, you know, supporting with your money. Like, you have to feel comfortable and confident where you're giving your money. But I think there's some people that are just very, it's easier to have the blinders on, because once I start looking at that, then I have to start reevaluating everything, and then it becomes difficult. And some
It's
people,
a minefield.
it's too difficult. I don't want to deal with
such a minefield. And everyone needs to take their breaks and make sure they're looking after their own mental health with these things. But some of this stuff is real. People, you gotta pay attention to it, because if it's not affecting you, it's probably affecting somebody that you know.
Yeah. You have to educate yourself on what's going on.
Yeah.
Be aware. And I think another thing that Sophie and I had been discussing in the office is the fact that so many breweries in the UK are owned by white middle-class men.
Yeah.
And I think that there's an element where they might feel a little bit like, is it my place to be involved in this, to stand up and make a Brave Noise beer, because I'm not one of the people who's affected by it. But again, comes down to platform, comes down to using your influence to try and influence the industry. And, you know, maybe you don't take the lead on that brew. Maybe you get some people in from the local industry or one of the charities you want to support, and try and get them in for a brew day and say, look, you know, I want to platform you for a little while, and I want to do everything I can to amplify your voice. I feel like
I mean, we spoke about that with you know, the prime example is when we spoke to Wilderness. That's sort of like James was saying, like, for him it kind of felt like he didn't want it to come across as disingenuous, or like it was being like just a show, just like he was just doing this to put on the show, to be like, look, I've done a really good thing, or to be condescending, or like anything like that. And we kind of talked around that conversation. I think it was Helen that they were like, yeah, you have this platform and you need to do it. And we were like, yeah, that's kind of how it is if I tried to tell a certain audience these things, they might go, my friends don't do this, so it doesn't happen. I've seen it physically. The conversations happen.
I've never seen that happen.
I've never done it. My friends don't do it. I've never witnessed it. Therefore, it doesn't happen. As if they are omniscient and everything else, and they can see everything and know everything that's going on with everyone else in the world, in order to say that they know it's not happening anywhere, instead of just listening to someone going like, yeah, but it did happen to me. And I think if you have someone that really has no stake in that game, or no horse in the race, whatever you want to say, and they're saying this is something we need to change, they're more likely to listen to that person about it than someone like myself.
Yeah, I think it's really important for James to bring bring along his side of the story, really. And I think that was something that did need to be said as well. Because we do need allies as well. You don't have to necessarily have been that person in that situation that has been discriminated against, but you can still stop and say, actually, you can't do that. That's not okay.
Yeah, get them to use their privilege. It's like, people do listen to you. You know, because you own a brewery, or you're a brewer or whatever, like, you can talk to people that aren't necessarily going to listen to other people. So we need that too.
Yeah, it can feel like sometimes we're shouting within an echo chamber if we don't have those allies. And it's like, we're not suggesting that everybody is like that doesn't fit in the group of people that, is impacted. We're not suggesting that, like, every straight white man is a problem, as even though we've been accused of that just by having the conversation sometimes. Like, that is not what we're saying by any means. And it's proven by when you have an ally that is a straight white man that's like, yeah, we need to do something about this because it's not cool. It's like, yeah, we're not saying he's doing this. We're saying it's really great that he's not doing this, and he still feels the need to stand up and speak out to say, hey guys, we can do better. Like, I feel like that's just like everyone needs to do that, especially if you're not that person that's behaving in the inappropriate ways. You need to call out the people that are by being like, look, we're all like, you know, we might all get a bad rep if people are behaving in a certain way. Not that anybody would sort of tar everyone with the same brush, but it is that, like, you need to speak up and you need to put people you're seeing behaving that way in check. And it is just like, it's something we can't do. We need those allies to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. It's like the classic example of, you know, if it's a group of men with no women or LGBTQ people in sight, it's and there's a conversation going on that isn't acceptable. We need someone to stand up in that group and say, actually, check yourself within this
Not
group,
good.
because this isn't acceptable. Just because those people aren't here, just because you're not directly offending someone, you're still offending us. You're still offending society by perpetuating this conversation and allowing this to happen. So yeah, absolutely. Allyship can happen even in private, even behind closed doors.
I think it should happen in private and behind closed doors, because I think there's this whole behavior of people hide behind, oh, it's just banter and it's just locker room talk and all this type of stuff. But what happens when that bleeds out into life and you go, but the people that surround me are okay with it, so you should be okay with it as well, because I don't mean it, it's just a joke, and not everybody finds that funny. Like, jokes have a punchline. Like, being like, you're gay shouldn't be a punchline. Like, it's not a punchline.
No.
If you wouldn't make that joke in front of someone of that community, then it's not funny.
And
It's not appropriate.
Someone at work used the phrase, and I might have just butchered this phrase, but he basically sort of said, if you're not willing to put your name against it on a billboard, you shouldn't be saying it. Something to that effect. And I was like, that is like a really brilliant thing. If you're not willing to have your name plastered on it in a public space of what you've said, then you probably shouldn't say it.
Yeah. That's a really good example.
He said it the other day and I was like,
that's
really good. I was like, I'm going to use that actually.
And I quite like, there's one that I read, and I use this every now and then, when someone tells a joke, like a joke, we're air quoting that, and it's not funny, I'm just like, what explain to me why that's funny. And when you make them have to think about it and explain it, then they start to get uncomfortable because they realize what they've really said. It's like, you know, explain to me why that is funny, and they can't because it's not actually funny.
Oh yeah, I've definitely done that. I'm like, I don't understand. Can you?
I don't understand why. Can you
that
explain
funny?
to me why that's funny?
Can you break this joke down for me?
Not funny. That's why.
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of leads nicely on to the question that we sort of ask everyone as well, of, you know, from both of your perspectives, what sort of changes, what are the big changes that you think that you'd like to see within the industry, just as a first start, and maybe what people can do to work towards that, or maybe stuff that you're already doing at Lost and Grounded, for example, that other people can take away and do in their locations. And I think you guys could offer actually quite a unique perspective, because I don't think we've had this conversation necessarily with people. We've had it with maybe some bits in marketing, but, you know, having your take on that would be quite good as well. So
it's a very good question.
It's a big one.
It is a big
one.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose one of the first things that comes to mind for me is being out drinking as a woman in particular, and feeling safe to do so, feeling like you're not going to be judged, or that you're in a safe environment, you're not in any kind of danger. I think that the industry is making great strides towards trying to make spaces safer and trying to make sure that all customers feel welcome, and that there's a safeguarding platform in place in case something does happen. But I think that we need to find a way of maybe going a step further, especially at festivals. I think that knowing that you have somewhere where you can go and report an issue if something has happened, or that the stewards will be on your side if they see something, or even if you just accuse someone of something. I know recently there's been more accusations from Great British Beer Festival having issues with, people feeling safe and having a safe space, and for it being dealt with in an appropriate way. And you think, after all these conversations that we're having, surely this is done now. Surely everyone's got, somewhere safe, good well-trained stewards who know how to handle the situation, well-trained security who are aware that these things can happen. But it's still happening, and particularly in festivals, and particularly as it's festival season as well. It's just a predominant thing in my head at the moment. So it would be good to see another step taken, to like a zero tolerance step of one strike and you're out. I know it probably sounds harsh, but like, what else can you do if, like, because otherwise it could escalate and nothing's being dealt with hard enough.
It feels like
agree.
if you let that go, that becomes if that person almost feels like, that's fine, I got away with that. They don't feel like they got away with it, but it empowers them to feel like that what they did actually wasn't wrong. No. And I can understand if there's like a bit of a black and white, like it's not a black and white situation. You're like, oh, okay, I don't really, it's just a he said. Not that it should be a he said, she said to it, but can understand that there's certain situations where it might be like, okay, maybe we don't kick this person out because we're not 100% on what's happened, because there's a lot of different stories and we're not really sure, and it's different parties, and it's like, okay, I'm not sure. But you have to take someone's word at it that what they're saying is the truth. Like I was reading something that someone was like, oh, so now women can just get men kicked out if they reject like romantic interest. And I was like, who is literally going to report someone because someone's asked them to buy them a drink and they're like, no, kick this man out. I'm gonna go out of my way to lie about what this person's done so they can be kicked out because I don't want them to buy me a drink.
But but you know why that is, and that's coming from the mindset of not all men, but of men who, when they do something and they get rejected, that it's like, oh well, blah blah blah, and they get aggressive and defensive in that point. And that's that mindset, because they would do that, so they assume that the women are going to do that and get them kicked out. Not necessarily.
It just seems silly to think that someone's going to make up this someone's going to feel empowered enough to go to a person that is probably only 50%. It's making an assumption, but depending on where you are, it's like maybe doesn't have full training on how to deal with the situation, and they're going to make up a scenario and hope that person gets kicked out. And it's just like, it just seems like this big extravagant plot that's like definitely not happening.
But the situation there should be, can I buy you a drink? No thank you. Okay, bye.
Right.
Like,
yep, accept
how
and
simple
move on.
is that?
Yeah, it feels like something very simple, but I think that we still seem to have quite a way to go in making sure that these things are actually implemented and dealt with, handled correctly. And I think a lot can be done with staff training. And a lot of stewards, of course, they're volunteers at beer festivals, so I know that there's not necessarily the budget to do it, but it should just be a basic part of, like, even if it's just the day before the festival, preparing, we're getting everything set up, but there's also like a mandatory, everyone has to go through this process or read this and sign this to make sure that they understand that if they see something happen, this is the process you go through to deal with it. So yeah, my 2 cents there.
I mean, I presume they still have to do Challenge 25 before volunteers are allowed to be doing those sorts of things. So yeah, you can kind of build that in there, surely.
Yeah, there's Challenge 25, but my experience of Challenge 25 is like when I've volunteered at festivals, is they just go, oh, there's Challenge 25. Like that's it. It's quite literally like people go, put these things up on your bar.
Yeah,
Challenge
it's
25.
just a tick box exercise then, isn't it? Whereas actually, to actually implement it properly, you do need to challenge someone if they look under 25. But
it's that thing of like, you don't even with the challenge 25, like, it doesn't necessarily feel like someone said to you, if you think someone's underage, ID them. If you have any problems, like, you come and get somebody or anything like that. It's literally just like, we do challenge 25 here. And you're like, cool.
Yeah.
and you kind of think, like, some people might go, yeah, but if it kicks off, I'm not getting paid. So, like, I'm not even, I'm not getting paid. So why bother? And I think it's even with the challenge 25 thing, they could make you feel more comfortable and empowered as a volunteer to say, like, if you as anybody, but especially as a female, feel like, you're serving beer to somebody and you challenge them, and it's someone that's maybe physically more imposing on you, and they might turn around and go, like, obviously I'm overage, I'm not showing you my ID, and then they start getting aggressive, and you don't feel like someone said to you, it's okay if you have any problems, make sure to call over a member of staff. I think they just assume that you should know to do that, or that you would do that. But some people would just go, that's a bit intimidating and I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to say, it's okay, fine. I mean, it even happened. I went to like one of the RuPaul's Drag Race drag cons, and you could tell that this person behind the bar was quite young. Everyone got ID'd going into the place. You got ID'd at like multiple different points. And then I went up to the bar and she asked my ID, and I was like, I didn't have it on me. I had it in a locker, and I didn't kick up a fuss. I just said, like, oh, I was like, we were ID'd on the way in though, so, like, surely we should all be like overage. And she was like, I'm really sorry, I just have to ID you. And I was like, oh, that's okay. And I was like, I don't have my ID on me, so can you just hold this and I'll go get it? And she sort of panicked and went, no, I mean, it's okay, like, you can just have it. And I was like, no, like, she's like, I'm really sorry, I'm just doing my job. And I was like, it's fine. I was like, I take it as a compliment of, like, you think that I look under 25. I was like, that is amazing. Absolutely. I was like, I'm in my 30s. Like, I am absolutely loving this. It's great. And I was like, it's just that I didn't expect to get ID'd, because we got ID'd at numerous points, that I left my stuff in my locker, not thinking about it. Yeah. But if you had someone that was more of like an aggressive type person, or had already had a few drinks, like, you want to feel like, even as staff, you're getting appropriate training even to handle that situation.
I mean, it could be something as simple as, like, one of those online courses. I did one the other day on manual handling. It's like a 2-hour course. Yeah. You do it at home. It could be done within the week on the build up to the festival or something. So if you register who's going to be on your stand, then everyone has to go do this 1-hour course or whatever. Yeah. And then at the end, it's just a literal, this person has completed this course. So they're aware of how to handle a situation. And like you say, like, it is empowering then, I think. It gives you the confidence to actually challenge people and say, you know what, that's unacceptable. Or if someone comes to you and reports something, how you then, what the chain of command is then to actually deal with that and get that, just to make the festivals a safer place. Yeah.
I think it was quite good, actually, is that I think, following from what We Are Beer have been doing, and then they've been putting it out there and publishing what their stance is on it and their zero tolerance policy, that Indie Man this week have actually come out and said, we have a zero tolerance policy for Indie Man, we're not going to accept it, this is our guide, our guide, what we're going to do, this is what we're socially responsible for, and how we're going to action it. If you have a problem, speak to any of member of staff, we'll get it sorted. And I think that's really good. And I think that's probably already going to start make changes within the industry, that things are starting to happen more now that these larger platforms are rolling and they are taking it forward. And I think, it is going to start making some good changes.
Yeah. And if a festival as big as Indie Man, which is like the craft beer festival, does it, then hopefully it will, like you say, it will have this knock-on effect in the industry.
I was really pleased as well. I was at Peakender at the weekend, and when we went and got our wristbands, there was a sign laminated, like, saying we won't tolerate this, we won't tolerate that. And I thought that was, and I was like, oh, that's really good. Like, they're laying it out as soon as you get there. Like, these are our expectations of your behaviour. And it wasn't just, don't get messy drunk. It was, treat people how you want to be treated. Like, we won't tolerate discrimination of any form. Like, it was really good. I was really,
especially somewhere like Peakender, you've got the whole aspect of people camping there as well, and the safety elements around all of that. So I think that's really important that they put that forward as well.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I was having a conversation in my husband and I were driving somewhere, and we were having a conversation about the whole in the industry situation, and about how there just should be a zero tolerance policy, like full stop, on like drunk shouldn't be an excuse. Like I was talking to, but I think it was actually on the way into London Craft Beer Festival, we were saying how it was like, it shouldn't be like drunk as an excuse, because we were saying like, we've never experienced being so drunk that we've behaved in a way that is like that I would say something that I would never normally say because I was drunk. Like I was like, people behave like crazy, like you said, get messy drunk, like there's all that, but I cannot imagine myself becoming a different person and saying a racial slur or something like I'm just trying to give an example. Like I can't imagine saying a racial slur and then going, I'm really sorry, it was just because I was drunk. Like, and we were just saying like those types of behaviors, there's one thing to be a bit like crazy and a bit like, you know, doing things that you maybe normally wouldn't do because you've thrown your inhibitions to the wind and all that, but it's another to change your personality and to be like, the things that I morally value, I don't morally value anymore because I'm so drunk. And it's just like, we just don't feel like I'm drunk is a good, I was drunk, I didn't mean to say that really offensive thing to that person because I was drunk. Like it just shouldn't be an excuse for that, like for that type of behavior. So I'm definitely with you on it's like there might be some situations, like I said, that are maybe grey area that you don't kick someone out immediately. But I think for the majority that it should be quite a zero tolerance policy on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But it would be good to know, like Sophie, from your perspective, like if there was something that you could sort of change within the industry, what would you want to change?
I think it's just that we just need to keep talking about it, really. We just need to keep getting it out there and keep it moving, even beyond the Brave Noise project, even after, maybe this time next year. We still want to keep talking about it, and it might have a different name by then. It might have a different guise. We might still be saying it's Brave Noise, but I think if we keep talking about it and keep it out there, I think that's going to start slowly making those changes. People are going to see things differently, and people are going to think, actually, no, that behavior is not acceptable. And it's going to come down to then not just what we do, but also our customers, and we're going to have to pass it on to them at some point and get them to be responsible, to help make a difference, and just generally look after each other and support each other. We're a lovely beer community.
Yeah, we get to drink delicious things. Like, let's look after each other while we do it. It's not just a little tick box.
So why would you want more people
No.
to share with? Like,
Yeah.
why would you want that?
Yeah, let's share it with all the people. We want to share the deliciousness.
But yeah, I mean, do you guys think that you can see Lost and Grounded? We asked, we spoke to another brewery about this. I don't want to say like who it was because of, I don't know, continuity issues or anything like that with when the episodes come out. I don't know. But like, do you see yourselves, as in Lost and Grounded, brewing this next year and doing like a second brew of Brave Noise? Like in an ideal world, like, do you think that's something that is possible to say, like, yearly you would consider brewing a charity beer for Brave Noise and equality, even if it's not called Brave Noise, as you said, Sophie? Do you think you'd be doing that again?
I mean, I would fully expect it would be something that they would want to look at doing. I mean, it's a real passion of Alex and Annie's, particularly Annie's, to be involved and to do as many charity things, and like we were saying, like using the platform to amplify voices as much as possible. So I could see them considering it again. It might, if it came under a different guise, perhaps, who knows. But yeah, they're always trying to make sure that they keep supporting as many charities as possible. We've done multiple different charity beers before, so yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't.
I was gonna say, you guys aren't shy to charities. Like, yeah, you have it's the Cats one that comes out like every year as well. Yeah. The labels are always like, I always love the labels. Like that one, I think I saw it like last year, that I saw this year's, and I was like, oh my god, the labels are amazing.
I know, the labels, it sells on the labels alone almost.
I think the first time I saw it, I was like, that label was amazing, and then I realized it was a charity beer, and I was like, that makes it double amazing.
sell
So-
shoppers as well, like on our web store with the cats on, and they sell so fast that actually everything else is like it just sat there waiting to go. It's like, oh, if it's got a cat on it, it sells. If it's got a dog on it as well, we did another one last year, which was a dog day afternoon, which was supporting Street Vet.
I think it might be that's
so-
the one that I saw last year, and I was like,
Yeah.
dogs, and then I saw this, and I was like, there's cats. Like, I was like, amazing.
So
Yes,
good.
big cat lovers, big dog. Well, we've got office dogs as well. So if you ever come to the brewery, there's usually a couple of dogs in the office. So it's big animal lovers, big positive. It's one of the great things about working at Lost and Grounded is how like accepting everyone is of each other, and it's like a huge core part of Lost and Grounded's ethos is everyone's on the same level. It's one of the reasons it's Lost and Grounded Brewers, not Lost and Grounded Brewery, because Annie and Alex are really passionate about the fact that it's the people that make the brewery. It's not the building and the equipment. It's the people who work in it. And it's not just the brewers who are making that. It's everyone from top to bottom. They treat everybody equally. Everyone gets the same support. And we are very lucky. We are very supported. And it's a lovely place to work. And everyone's so lovely. It's it kind of makes you go, how is it that not every brewery is like this? Surely everyone goes into work and goes, everyone's mates, we could all sit in the tap room at the end of the day and have a great time. And you do wonder how anyone else can not be like that, but obviously not everyone's the same, but that's what we want for everybody. What we want in the industry. So keep brewing on, and hope everyone else starts doing the same.
Yeah, I really like how Alex, he always coins a phrase. He brings it up, every now and again, and he says that the brewery is about the people. Otherwise, we're just a metal shed with some stainless steel in it.
Yeah,
That's brilliant. That's really good. That leads us quite nicely on to our next question, which is there any messages you'd like to send to any breweries considering brewing a Brave Noise that might not be sure if they should do it or not?
I think that you can go on the website, there's tools on there to help you do it, so it's not difficult to sign up. It's not difficult to choose a charity. I think there's going to be loads of charities out there that are going to be local to breweries that they want to support if they're not already supporting them already, of course. And yeah, as you said, that they're very approachable as a team. You can contact them about anything if you need any help. And also, if you haven't necessarily got the time to fit a fresh brew into your schedule, then maybe there's a way that you can take one that you've already got in the pipeline, that you could maybe say that you want to give a bit to a charity on this particular batch, and maybe hold a little event or anything like that, really, just to help raise the awareness.
I was going to say, perhaps host an event instead of brewing a bit, or invite some people down for a tour or something like that, and just try and open up the industry, basically, to as many people. Make a noise. This is what we keep saying.
That's a
we were really
novel
pleased
idea.
we were really pleased to bring down the some of the ladies from Womankind from our charity, and they actually came down and spent an evening with us, and we gave them a tour, and it was just lovely to have them, and they were so pleased to be involved in a project as well. So
that's really sweet. I feel like I'm not a crier, and I feel like I'd probably be like, oh, this is so lovely. That's such a novel idea that I wouldn't have even thought of. Like, maybe you can't brew, I mean, and this is something we can't sign off on, but it would be really interesting to see if someone was like, maybe you contract brew, or maybe you are at such a small level that you physically cannot just stop and add this in, or you can't afford to do the charity beer because even they don't, you can work with them on what you donate, but even then maybe it's still too difficult, or any numerous reasons as to why maybe you can't contractually, there's too many things in place. I don't know, but it'd be quite a novel idea if you were like, well, instead, what if I held an event and I donated all the money to charity for that event, and like, would Brave Noise team approve that instead? Like, that would be quite interesting to find out. So maybe that's something somebody can try and see, because I mean, you could hold a whole, you know, women in beer or something that's more diversity, inclusivity, some type of event for that, and then be like, yeah, we're going to do this, and then all that money that we make, do a raffle, do something. You know, there's going to be breweries that are still brewing it, that are putting kegs out, that you could be like, let me get a keg of that in and we'll serve this Brave Noise beer, and be like, cool, donate that money to charity. So I mean, see if you can get Brave Noise to sort of sign that off. That would be an interesting idea. But even if they don't, I mean, yeah, I think you guys are right. It's still a good thing to do regardless. Like, make a noise.
I think at the end of the day, the worst that can happen is you have a brew day, you make some beer, and what else? You know, you're still doing the same thing you do every day. If it doesn't quite go how you want it to, you're still doing what you love. In theory. Let's hope that you are. Perhaps it's just a case of clubbing together with other people, talk to other breweries in your local community, because that should be one of the best parts about this industry, is it's a community. It's quite small, really. You go to these festivals and you know half the people there, and you just end up going, oh, hi, because everyone knows each other. So if you can't host it, you don't have to be the one to host it. You could be the one who just goes, hey, guys, 5 different local breweries who can host it, and let's all get together and do it one day.
Yeah, collaboration. Brave Noise Brews would be like quite a good one. Or I guess another thing that you've just kind of sparked is like, maybe people can, if you have been a brewery that's brewed a Brave Noise and you are really good friends with another brewery, maybe try to convince that brewery to do one as well. Just be like, look, I know you're doing the right things, get on board with this. Here's how we approached it. You can, you know, be available to, you know, I know Emma, I've said it before, and Emma's always like putting me in it, but Emma has said, you know, if anyone has questions, that they could speak to her about it, and her experience of how, you know, she's organized it. I'm sure there's other breweries that have done it, where you could reach out to them, especially if you're friendly with them, and ask them about how the logistics work for them, and get advice from them. So
yeah, everyone's always happy to help, I think.
Absolutely, no one's hiding any of this from each other. It's not a competition.
No,
everyone's striving for the same goal, and you know, the industry is still small enough that we're not about to tread on each other's toes. So everyone can share any information. It's totally fine.
As we said at the beginning, it's about diversity as well. So like, especially if you're brewing a beer that's slightly different, you know, I can't even imagine people being like competitive and secretive over like, because I feel like that would then lose the whole
absolutely.
You're like gatekeeping a Brave Noise, and you're like, I cannot help you because I am the most diverse promotion. Like, I love inclusivity. Go away.
I like it more than you. I do it better.
Love diversity more. I'm all about diversity. Like, now. The idea of gatekeeping diversity does actually make me laugh a little bit. I think if you're brewing this beer, you're probably not a person that's going to be gatekeeping diversity and inclusivity. You're probably going to be approachable and willing to have a conversation with people.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure as always. Is there anything that you would like to promote of your own?
I don't know. Well, we've got our Oktoberfest event coming up soon. So everyone get on the website, book your tickets, and
It may or may not.
I was going to say this may or may not. This might be out after Oktoberfest.
Oh, well, if it's
not
after
sure yet.
Oktoberfest, then
Let's
you
cut
missed out.
that.
Sorry.
No. We're going to keep it in there.
Keep it in.
Because you need to look for it next year.
Yeah, because you missed it.
You might have missed it. Maybe if you've not missed it, cool. If you've missed it, then look for it next year, and I'm sure you guys will probably have the amazing fest beers that you had, like the one you had last year was so good.
We drank it for
the
when we did our
go back and
so
watch that one. It was
it was so good.
I still dream about that bit.
I found a can of it like in the back of I had it in a separate fridge outside. I found a can of it like a few months ago, and I was just like and it still tasted good. Like I was like, yes. I was like,
I'm so jealous.
It was a great accomplishment.
I found some pictures of it the other day because I was going through like my stuff and I saw it up against like some bratwurst. So I was obviously having a good old an Oktoberfest at home with the fest beer and the like bratwurst, and
it was so
I was thinking,
good.
oh.
It was. I love Oktoberfest beers in general,
Yeah.
but yeah. So if you did miss it, keep an eye out next year for it.
Yeah.
Follow us on our socials. It's always on
Okay.
there. So on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news.
We'll put those in the show notes so you can find them easily.
We'll link back to that. Oh, and I will plug your t-shirts because you're selling.
Yes.
Hopefully by the time this episode's out, you won't have sold out of them, or maybe I hope that you have sold out of them.
Yeah.
But if you haven't sold out of them, you need to get one because you're selling this one as well, aren't you? The Bevolution.
Yeah, we're selling the Bevolution ones. We've got more of the anti-racist, anti-sexist, pro-equality ones than the Bevolution ones. So they'll probably, fingers crossed, there'll still be some available for people if they're looking, when they're listening to this. Go on our website, onto our shop, have a little look at our merch. There's lots of fun stuff to look at on there.
Buy all the merch.
There's no better way to make a big noise as well than like going out with your anti-sexist, anti-racist quality beer club top one.
I wore mine to work today and I was like, oh man, I'm doing a podcast tonight, so I've got my attire on already.
Well, I think Joe spotted me at Peakender in mine.
I did. I was like, oh, there's Sophie. Joe's just got on. That's what
you can see each other from afar. You can see every member of the pro-equality beer club.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like a Mockingjay. Everyone's like, like we need to come up with like a little signal.
Are you a member of the club?
Alice from Thornbridge had hers on. I saw a Coven t-shirt as well at Peakender. I was very impressed with the
both of my
diversity and inclusivity that was happening in the t-shirts at Thornbridge.
But we definitely need to see more of these because we need to have more beer t-shirt Fridays with these on.
Yes. In fact, I think I might do this for Beer Shirt Friday.
Beer Shirt Friday. Beer Shirt Friday. I never do it because I never remember to.
No, you don't.
I've got like a drawer full. I've got so many shirts. And then I just forget to do the photos.
Amazing. Well,
thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you for having us.
Very much. Yeah, it's been lovely to chat to you guys again.
Yeah,
I know, it's exciting.
And of course, you're welcome back anytime. We'd love to have you on again.
We'll have to have you come back on to like just talk about Lost and Grounded as a brewery, not just in the context of Brave Noise.
We'll just drink more delicious lager.
There's no issue with that. And I think then Maz will get like a special like gift because it's their third time on your podcast.
That'll be it. Yes. And then you will have to have a showdown with like Emma at some point.
Yeah.
You'll have to have us both on at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. We need to have you both at the same time. I think Emma's on.
I can ask you quiz questions.
5. Is Emma on 5 times now?
Oh, if we include her video messages, maybe.
I think she might be up to 5.
Oh, well, I've got a way to go then.
Well, we've got to keep bigging that up. Yeah. Cool, amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, hope to see you in person soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
That was. I feel like every time we end a conversation, we're like, that was lovely.
But
it's like
really good. But seriously, this lager.
It's out. I literally every time we've had conversations, this is 3 times now that we've had conversations, and every time I've had to like really hold back on trying not to finish it all before the end of the episode, and I have failed pretty much every time. I think the only time I didn't was when we were interviewing Ash and Ren at London, because my beer was quite literally behind me.
Yeah,
I was like kind of holding it for a bit and kind of, so it wasn't really the forefront of my hand because I had to hold the mic at several points. That's the only time I managed to have self-restraint on this beer.
It's a good bit. If you have not tried it and you were at a We Are Beer Festival and you missed it, go and see if Lost and Grounded still have some, and you can buy some because it is delicious.
They do have it at the time of recording, so
yes,
hopefully they still have it in a few weeks' time. Go buy the shirt.
If not, you missed out because it was so good.
You absolutely effed. You effed up. And that's on you, because it is an amazing beer. So in all seriousness,
I hope you got a t-shirt too.
Either
one of these delights, either the anti-sexist, anti-racist, pro-equality beer club, or the Women of the Bevolution shirts. They are both equally cool.
I've got them both. Love it.
Me too.
Love them both. Me too. Love them both. And actually, I quite like that we wore the different ones today, so we could like showcase the 2 different ones. Let me see if I can do a flip around.
Oh, yeah, and it says speak up. Love it.
Yes.
I'll do it, but you won't be able to see. The back of mine has got Lost and Grounded on it, as well as the Brave Noise symbol.
Oh, so I
but
don't
it's
have
quite
that one. I've
far.
got the V-neck. Now I'm kind of like, I sort of want a Lost and Grounded one
You need
now.
to get this
so
one because it's got
I
Lost
think
and
I
Grounded
might
on the
need
back.
to. I might need to.
Yeah, just expand your Brave Noise wardrobe.
That's it. When they start putting those Oktoberfest beers out, and I know I'm not going to be able. I'm in the moment not buying beers until they're Oktoberfest beers.
There was air quotes there, by the way, everybody.
Yes, if you're no one
not
Joe,
buying beers.
Why did you
quotes.
out me? Because like if someone's listening to this, which they probably are, I could be like, I'm not buying beers, obviously.
She is. We literally stopped recording just now and ordered some beer. So
yeah, well, it was economical because somebody else I know was ordering them anyway, so I just put something in there. So
it's the best way to do it.
It's fine.
Get some beer friends. Do orders together.
Save on shipping. It's all good. It's good. Happy days.
Pro tip, Matt.
But yeah, once the Oktoberfest and the pumpkin spices start coming out, the self-control is going to go right out the window. And then I might as well just throw a t-shirt in there as well. So
always the best way.
Go get yours before I buy it.
Yes. Tori, if people would like to come and talk to you about how delicious this lager is and the wonderful festivals and or cans of it that they had, where can they talk to you?
You can come talk to me on Instagram at adventures_in_hoptimism. You can email me at adventuresinhoptimism@gmail.com. You can probably try going on my TikTok. I have the last TikTok I've put on there was a Brave Noise inspired one. Brave Noise inspired TikTok.
Just making a brave noise.
Yep. So yeah, you can find me on there. All the handles are Adventures in Hoptimism. Instagram has the underscores. The other ones I can't remember, but you'll find me if you just put it in there. It's fine. My email does not. It is adventuresinhoptimism@gmail.com. And then if you want to write to the podcast, which I will probably pick up first and foremost, is a women's brew podcast at gmail.com. So Joe, people want to talk to you about having the Brave Noise shirt with the Lost and Grounded logo on the background. Where can people talk to you?
Come talk to me about my ever-growing Brave Noise wardrobe that I now have. And of course, all my Beer Shirt Fridays, because I love Beer Shirt Friday. You can find me at my beer school, which is Love Beer Learning. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest. We are at a website. I am at a website, lovebeerlearning.co.uk. And you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. And of course, you can find the podcast on Instagram as A Woman's Brew. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter as well, but mostly we're going to talk to you on Instagram. So come find us there. We're going to go. Well, you finished yours. I've got a little bit of my lager left.
Mine's
but
done.
We'll leave you, dear listeners. Have some delicious lager. Cheers.
Cheers.